Hi, my name is Feng. Today I am going to explain parts of an IV tubing and administer IV fluid and administer IV medication via piggy bag. But first, as all skilled nursing procedures, it is very important to perform aseptic hand hygiene and by performing washing my hand. So before I do that, I need to make sure I gather all the supplies, which is I need to make sure I have running water, a sink, and soap, paper towel, and a trash can. So I will stand in front of the sink, and then with the warm water running, I will lower my hands in the sink, and then I will go ahead and apply soap covering my hand and my wrist, and then I will start vigorously rubbing my hands with frictions and with the palm of my hand, and then the back of my hand, the fingers, and then my knuckles, and then the fingernails, and then I'm gonna make sure I wash my wrist too, and about 30 seconds. And I will dry my hand with a paper towel and go ahead and discard the paper towel. I will get a new paper towel and I will close the faucet, and then I'll open the doorknob as well with that clean paper towel. So my hand is clean. So now I have a patient here with an infection. The doctor has ordered IV fluid and medication, but before I proceed with the procedure, I want to go ahead and explain to you the parts of the IV tubing and what do they do. So here I have a primary IV tubing, and open it. Let me go ahead and put on my gloves, even though that I'm just explaining to you the parts, but I should get started. As always, keep the tubings clean. Now, with this tubing, I'm going to open it. This is the tubing that is going to be connecting the IV bag. For the fluid is going to drip through the tubing, and then at the other end, it's going to connect to the patient's IV catheter. So, IV tubing start with this spike. This spike end is where I would connect this spike end into the IV tubing bag. It's always also called spiking the bag to allow the fluid to drip into the chamber. So now, it's very important to keep, once I open the cap, that I don't touch the spike end, because I would contaminate it and it may cause the patient to have infection. So second, this is the drip chamber. Once the bag is spiked, the IV fluid is going to drip into the drip chamber. It is where I will be able to count the drip per minute. Now, the third part is the roller clamp. The roller clamp is open right now. It is where I can control the open and close of the IV fluid, and then the rate. So it's like if I roll it down, it's closed. If I roll it up, it's open. So now, as we keep going down, I see this IV port. It is called a Y port. It looks like a Y, but it is for medication administration. Now this part is where it's going to connect to the IV catheter into the patient. So this is the adapter and Okay, so this is the primary IV tubing. Next, I'm going to demonstrate how to administer IV fluid by preparing the IV tubing and connecting to the IV catheter. So, again, I will need supplies. So the supplies I will need is based on the order. The order in this case is going to be, I'm assuming this is saline that per order. So I have this IV fluid here, and then I have IV tubings. But let me go ahead and verify the order first. I have Mr. Smith here. I'm looking at the order from the doctor. That Mr. Smith have normal saline, IV fluid, and then to start today. And I'm going to look at it's very important that I check the accuracy of the order, so that always go first. So I will go ahead and look at the patient's chart, look at the patient's name and the birthday to confirm this is the right patient, and also look at the doctor's order for the kind of fluid, the dosage, the route, the time, the date, and then the rate, and when to start the medication. And I also confirm the medication and the patient with the order and the MAR, making sure that it was transcribed correctly and then it was correct. And it's also important to make sure that the IV fluid that is being ordered is not contraindication with any medication the patient is receiving. The patient is still not allergic to it, and it also makes sense with the patient's diagnosis. And which I'll do it again on my next procedure. But now, I'm just going to spike the bag and then prime the fluid, prime the line. But so I'm going to go ahead and gather my supplies now. I have my IV bag, I have the primary tubing, and I have mixture alcohol pad, and I have label to label the tubing, some tapes, a pen, and I have clean gloves. Again, I'm going to look at this IV fluid. This is what the doctor is ordering based on the order, the medication, the fluid, and then I'm going to look at the name of the fluid, and then the dosage, the right dosage, correct with the order, and then the expiration date. When is it expiring? 2024, so it's not expired. Now I'm gonna go ahead and look at the patency. The bag is intact, and I'm gonna look at the IV tubing to make sure that the lines are intact. So go ahead. And now today I will be only using the IV port, but I'm gonna go ahead and hang it back. So this is 0.9% sodium chloride. I have the IV bag here have two ports here, and I am just gonna use the red one is connect to the spike end. The white excess is going where I can connect that to the medication, but I don't only need this one right now that connect to the. So I need to make sure that the IV bag is hang at least 30 inches above where the IV catheter is. So I already have this IV pole that, so take the initiative to measure. This is 30 milliliter, 30 inches, and just about right where the arm of the patient is. So I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that the roller clamp is closed. So when I spike the IV bag, I'm not going to have the fluid just drip all over and then waste it. But now I'm gonna go ahead and open the spike end cap, but I will not touch the spiked end. So with my non-dominant hands, I'm grabbing the IV bag, and I'm gonna open I just opened the port. So now I am going to penetrate the bag, but I have to squeeze it in hard. Okay. Now it's all the way in. All right, so remember I did not touch the spiked end. So now I'm going to go ahead and hang the bag now. So that's all I have for now. So to get the fluid running, I'm going to squeeze a drip chamber, and then wait until the IV fluid filled in about 1/3 to half. Okay, this is good. So it's filled. Now I am going to go ahead and prime the line. It's very important that I prime the line and leave no bubble in the IV tubing. So I'm going to slowly open the roller clamp, but I'm going to make sure I have the trash can first. It's alright, this is directly over the trash can. So now I'm going to open the roller clamp. Okay. Alright, I can see the IV fluid just coming through the tubing. Slowly. I'm just gonna let it drip until all the air bubble has came out. Okay. Now the tubing, the roller clamp is closed again. My tubing is primed. I don't see any air bubble. So this tubing is ready to calculate the drip factor. But my next procedure is going to calculate the IV fluid. But before I do that, let me go ahead and label the tubing. The tubing is good for 4 days, which is 96 hours. But most nursing facility would like it to be discarded every 72 hours, which is 3 days. So based on the company's policy, so you can either label it to be discarded on the 3rd day or the 4th day. But I will go ahead and to be safe, I will do for 3 days. So here I have a label here. I'm going to put the IV tubing start date and discard date and my initial. So today is I have start. Today I start at let me here. I started at today is September 26, 2020, and the time right now is 1600. And I'm gonna say discard. Discard is gonna be 3 days from now, is gonna be the 29th. September 29th, 2020 at 1600, and I am gonna initial it. Okay, should be more neat. Okay. But the important thing is that I have the start date and time, and then the discard date and time, and my initial. So I'm gonna go ahead and label that between the drip chamber and the roller clamp. So I'm gonna tape that. Okay, is good. Now, the order for Mr. Smith is to administer this 0.9% sodium chloride, 150 ml over 1 hour. So it is very important that I calculate the drop rate correctly so the patient will not get too much or too little fluid per the doctor order. So I'm gonna go ahead and change my glove, perform hand hygiene again, and I'm gonna go ahead and verify the order again. This is my next demonstration is to administer the 0.9% sodium chloride at 150 ml per hour. And now let me look at the order. So I'm gonna look at the patient's chart, Mr. Smith, right birthday, and then I'm going to look at the order. The order says 0.9% sodium chloride, administer 150 ml per hour, and it's going to administer today at September 26. I'm going to go ahead and look at if the patient have contraindication with the sodium chloride. Look at, okay, and then I'm going to look at the patient's mark for allergy. So it seems that the patient's medication that he's taking and is not contraindicated to the sodium chloride, and the patient is not allergic to sodium chloride. Very good. And I'm going to go ahead and gather my supplies. So to do that, I need to have the right fluid, and then I need to have already set up the IV tubing, which I already done, but most importantly, I need to have a watch with second hand. And I also need have alcohol pad. So I am going to gather the IV fluid. I'm going to verify that again. This is the right order. This is the right patient, Mr. Smith. 0.9% sodium chloride. Okay, the bag, the expiration date. Okay, again, expiration date, the dosage is right, and then it's not expired, and then it's the same medication that it says on the mark and the doctor's order, and then it's the right patient. And I have a watch for second hand. So the idea is to hang the IV back and get the tubing started, prime the line, which I already did, but I need to make sure that the drop rate is what is ordered, so which I need to calculate. So the order says 150 ml per hour. I need to get it down to the drop per minute, even drop per second for my calculations. My calculation is going to be, my IV tubing line says that the drop factor is 15 drop per minute. So I will calculate that with the ml. So my calculation goes, it's going to be 150 milliliter per hour. And I want to know how many drops per hour. So I'm going to time that by sorry, 15 drop. For so it's 150 milliliter per hour, and then I need to calculate the drop, how many drop per milliliter. So each milliliter is 15 drops. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the calculator. We have 150 times 15. Okay. 150 times 15, I get 2,250 drop per hour. And remember, I need to get it down to minutes, so I'm going to use that drop per hour and divide it by 60 minutes because there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So I'm going to divide 2,250 again by 60 minutes. So it's 37.5 drop per minute. 38 drop per minute. Oh. Well, sorry, about 38 drop per minute. Yeah. 38 drop per minute. That's correct. 38 drop per minute divided by, sorry, about 19 drops for 30 seconds. Okay. Let me put on my gloves again. Again, I'm looking at 38 drops per minute. And put my gloves on. Now, let me calculate it one more time. Okay, 115 times 15 divided by 60. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I can regulate that. I have the second here. Okay, I'm going to wait. I'm going to slowly open the roller clamp. I'm going to wait until it gets to the zero. So I'm going to start. I'm going to count full 38 drops. Okay. I'm opening it. Okay, it's coming down. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, it's too fast. I'm going to close it up a little bit. Okay. Alright, I'm going to count this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, this is about right. So I have the 30-second mark on 19 drops. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the full minutes just to make sure. All right, I'm going to count it again. I'm going to start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Oh, that's perfect. All right, this is gonna go ahead and this is the correct drop rate, 38 drop per minute. So at this time, I am gonna go ahead and I would have to connect that to the patient's. So it's dripping right now. Oops. Let's connect that to the patient. And so I will have to monitor that for about 15 minutes to 20 minutes later to make sure the drop rate is still correct. And before I administer that to the patient, I need to make sure that the patient's IV site is have no complication, is tolerating well, and before I add that, administer that to the patient, assuming the patient already have another IV fluid started. But that was the IV fluid. So for this demonstration, I'm just gonna close it. But it is in real life. It will be just drop. It will be connected to the patient. But so you won't keep dropping. Okay, now I close it. Now my next procedure is gonna administer amoxicillin via piggyback. I would do that by go ahead and I should label this. By verify the patient, the order, and then again calculate the drop rate. Okay, right patient. Mr. Smith, order for amoxicillin 250 milligram in 100 ml of normal saline over 15 minutes. I'm looking at the patient's chart, and then first I need to verify that this is the right patient and the patient's chart, and then with his name and his birthday. And then I'm going to verify the order is correct based on the doctor's order. And then I will go ahead and look at the MAR and make sure that the medication is transcribed correctly and there's no any error. So I'm going to look at it again. Okay, Mr. Smith, I'm looking at the patient's MAR now. Amoxicillin order to administer today at September 26th is 250 milligram. and over 100 milliliter of normal saline over 15 minutes of IV piggyback medication. I need to make sure that since the patients already have sodium chloride being administered right now, that the amoxicillin is not contraindicated to the normal saline. I mean this, sodium chloride. And then I'm going to look at the drug book. Okay, amoxicillin is not contraindicated to the fluid that I have right now. And then I'm gonna make sure to look at the patient's allergy, make sure that he's not allergic to amoxicillin. So I'm gonna look at his chart again. No, it's not. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and calculate the drop rates again. So I either have two scenarios. I either have the amoxicillin in the liquid form that I have to draw and then and then inject that into the piggyback 100 ml in the normal saline piggyback, or that I have this medication is already been formulated and is already premixed. So I'm gonna assume that it's already premixed. If not, I'll just inject it through the medication port, which in that case I'll have to draw the medication into the syringe, but make sure I need to disinfect the medication vial with the alcohol bath, refriction, and then I draw the medication, and then I'll inject that into the piggyback IV fluid. But this is already mixed in already, I'm assuming. So let's say, let me calculate the drop rates. What I need to know is that I need to administer 100 ml of fluid medication over 15 minutes. So again, I have this secondary tubing here. Secondary tubing is for the connection of the IV piggyback to the primary tubing. So drops factor here is again 15 drop per milliliter. So I'm going to calculate the drop factor here. So I'm going to have 100 milliliter of medication times 15 drop per milliliter. So I'm going to have 1,500 drop per In this case, it's not per hour, it's want to be given over 15 minutes. So I'm going to divide 1,500 dropped over 15 minutes. I have 100 drops per minute. So again, the math here is 100 milliliter of medication times, I know this is backward, but 15 drop per milliliter, so I have 1,500 drops totally. But it wants to be given over 15 minutes, so I have 100 drops per minute. But I'm interested, it's going to be really fast. So it's going to be 50 drop per 30 seconds. And I'm just dividing it by half of 1 minute is 30 seconds. So, and then if I wanted to go any even, because it's going to be fast, so I want to divide it even more fine. I'm going to divide 50 drop by half again. So I have 25 drop per 15 seconds. I'm going to calculate the whole full minute, but just for my calculation, 25 drops for 15 seconds. So I need to go ahead and again gather the supplies and then verify the medication again. For this part, again, I will need the medication. I will need the secondary tubing, and I would definitely need a sticker on the day and time and the medication that has started, and then alcohol pad to wipe the wipe port at the primary tubing, and then pen to label. So again, now, as I'm gathering the medication, I need to verify the order again. I need to verify this 3 times. First, when I look at the order. Second, when I gather the medication. Third, before administer the medication to the patient. So this is going to be my second time to verifying this is the right patient, Mr. Smith. The order says to give amoxicillin 250 milligram over 100 ml of normal saline in 15 minutes. So this is the medication I'm looking at here. It's amoxicillin, and then I have the right dosage here, and then I have the expiration date 2024, so it's not expired. And I'm going to go ahead and go check on the patient, and before I administer, and make sure that the patient is tolerating the IV fluids. While on the IV side is to have no complication and no signs of infection or infiltration. And but before I go to the patient, I'm gonna go ahead and prepare the tubings, calculate the drop rate. So I'm gonna go ahead and I need to open, again, I need to change my glove. I need to wash my hand, perform hand hygiene. I wash my now. Okay. I am gonna use the make sure my hand is dry. Alright, very similar to the primary tubing priming. I'm going to primer the secondary tubing with the medication. But before I do that, I need to lower the primary tubing set. Allow gravity to resist the pressure in the tubing. So I'm opening the secondary tubing now. In there's a hook. So let me see. Just gonna have to do this. And now I'm lowering my primary tubing is lower, so I'm gonna go ahead and the same how I would spike the primary IV bag. I'm gonna go ahead and spike the medication bag with my secondary tubing. So I'm gonna open this. With my non-dominant hand, I'm gonna grab the bag, and then I'm gonna open my spike cap without touching the spiked end to prevent spread of germs. I'm gonna open this cap. Again, I'm going to go ahead and squeeze it in by rotating it. Okay, now it's already spiked. So I'm gonna see if I can connect that to here. Okay, good. Ooh. Roller clamp was not closed. But I need to make sure my roller clamp is closed. Anyway, now my task is to prime the line. The roller clamp closed. And then I'm going to squeeze the drip chamber. Okay, so that's about right. 1/3 to half filled. And then I'm going to go ahead and slowly open the roller clamp, and then let it prime the line. Okay. Line is primed. You can see here, no air bubble. Now this will go to the Y port, but I'm going to make sure I will clean the Y port. This is the primary line. Okay. And then this is the Y port. So I need to clean that and wrap that for 15 seconds. Okay. All right. It's about 15 seconds. Now I'm going to let this air dry before I connect that to the okay. dry now. So I'm going to remove the cap of the secondary line attach adapter without touching it. Okay. Oops. Okay. Now I'm going to connect, squeeze it in and then connect, so it's connected now. The cap. So now I'm going to open the okay. I'm going to go ahead and open the primary tubing, the secondary tubing's roller clamp, but keep the secondary roller clamp closed. So now the secondary tubing is closed, is open, but I'm going to prime the the medication. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and prime the medication drop rate. So again, I'm looking for 100 drop per minute, which is about 25 drop for 15 seconds. So I have a watch here. It's gonna be fast. All right, I'm gonna open it. Okay. I'm gonna count now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so it's too fast. Let me lower a little bit. One more time. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, lower just a little bit more. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, that's just about right. So I'm going to count for 1 full minute now. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 30, 60. One more time. Okay, so this is 100 drop per minute and over 15 minutes. So I will go ahead and assess the patient again. Mr. Smith, how are you today? And then I have Mr. Smith here, and I'm looking at his. Can you please verify your? Can you please verify your identity, please? Your name and then your medical record number and your birthday. And then Mr. Smith verified that he is Mr. Smith, and then his birthday is correct, and then his medical record is correct. And then I'm gonna go ahead and look at his order again, Mr. Smith. Amoxicillin for 250 milligram over 100 ml of normal saline at 15, given at 15 minutes. So, so this is the right order. It's gonna have to be given today at 9 September 26. It's need to be given at right now at 1600, and piggyback. So I'm going to look at the medication again. This is amoxicillin, 100 ml normal saline, and then the expiration date is not expired. So the medication is correct. So Mr. Smith, can I look at your IV site, please? Okay, I'm going to look at it. So it looks like I'm going to go ahead and just look at the surrounding skin. It's not red. It's not the dermatose is not pale. And then I'm going to, there's no pain with me palpating over the gauze a little bit gently. And this Mrs. Smith, do you have any pain, itching, or burning sensation over your IV site? He said no. So he's tolerating the IV fluid, right? And then the IV site is patent and no complication. So your doctor ordered for you to receive amoxicillin for your infection. Is it okay if I give it to you today? And I have his consent. He said yes. And I'm going to go ahead and administer this amoxicillin for you. Make sure that while you're receiving the IV fluid medication, when you turn, don't watch out for the IV tubing, because if you roll on top of it, or you have a cake on it, or it would affect the flow rate. And so just watch out for it. Okay, so the patient has acknowledged that he's aware of how to watch out for the tubings, and then he's also know that to let me know if he has any pain or itching, a burning sensation over the IV site while he's receiving medication. So I'm gonna go ahead and have the medication administered to him. So the patient is receiving the medication now through IV. So Mr. Smith, you're getting the medication now. I'm gonna come back in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes to check on you and make sure that you're tolerating the medication. Okay? So please, if you have any discomfort or burning or itching on the area while you're receiving the medication, please let me know or press. Okay, now before I leave the patient's room, I need to make sure I will go ahead and label the medication. So the patient received amoxicillin 250 milligram over 15 minutes. The start date is at September 26, 2020 at 1600, and then I'm going to initial it, and I'm going to go ahead and label that at the secondary IV tubing. So I've already finished administering the medication. The secondary tubing is labeled, so now I need to go back to the nursing station and document the nursing procedure that I'm going to document that Mr. Smith received the amoxicillin of 250 milligram over 100 ml of normal saline at the rate of over 15 minutes, and he's tolerating the procedure well, that his IV site had normal skin color, no signs of infection, no complaint of itching and burning, and then the fluid is floating as ordered. And I will go ahead and go back and check the patient again in 15 minutes, make sure he's tolerating the fluid right, and then the flow rate is still correct, and initial my nursing documentation. So that concludes my demonstration today with administering